the Bengals announced their inaugural Ring of Honor class nominees. Let's take a look. What is up, Bengals fam? It's your boy Mike. First things first, I did not go to Harvard. My wife took a negotiations course there. It was like 2 days long, and I bought a t-shirt. Didn't want you guys thinking I was smart. Welcome to another Who Daily. It's your boy Mike. Hey guys, the Bengals announced today the Ring of Honor, their inaugural class of nominees for their Ring of Honor. Now they already put in. You'll notice. I'll put it up on the screen. You'll notice a very obvious one that's missing, and that's Anthony Munoz, the only Hall of Famer in team and franchise history. They already announced he's going in as an automatic inductee along with team founder Paul Brown. So don't get up in arms about that. But what I'm gonna do is go through a few of the nominees. Let's just look at who they got. We got Ken Anderson. You got Willie Anderson. You got a bunch of Andersons on the list, by the way. Kicker Jim Breach. You got running back James Brooks. You got wide receivers Chris Collinsworth and Isaac Curtis. You've got Corey Dillon. Of course, Boomer Esiason. You got the safety David Fulcher. You've got the wide receiver Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson. Defensive tackle Tim Crumry. Former guard and now radio announcer and analyst for the team, Dave Lapham. You've got Max Montoya, the guard for those Super Bowl teams. You've got cornerback Lamar Parrish, another cornerback Ken Riley. You got tight end Bob Trumpy. And you've got linebacker Reggie Williams. So those are the nominees. They're going to vote in for these guys to go in alongside alongside Anthony Munoz and Paul Brown. Just wanted to take a quick look at some of the stats. Maybe you guys have never looked into some of these guys. Let's take a look at Ken Anderson. So Ken Anderson, 6'2", 212-pound quarterback. He was drafted in the 3rd round with the 67th overall pick. He played with the Bengals from 1971 to 1986 as a player, and then he was the quarterback's coach from 1993 to 2002 and offensive coordinator. So long storied history with the team. Obviously, his career stats include being the Bengals' career passing leader with 32,838 yards. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. 1981, he was a first-team All-Pro, and he was a 2-time second-team All-Pro in his career as well. In 1981, he was the NFL's most valuable player, 2-time NFL passing yards leader, 3-time NFL completion percentage leader, and 7th highest Super Bowl single game pass completion percentage at 73.5. He is the former record holder for that. Whenever he put that number up, it was the record. It's been beaten 6 times since then. Let's see. So that's that's Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson's probably going in, guys. I mean, Ken Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame. So he's definitely going to get into the inaugural class for the Ring of Honor for the Bengals. Let's look at the next quarterback on the list that's probably going in. And that's Boomer Esiason. Boomer Esiason, 6'5", 224 pounds, big lefty. Bengals' career was from 1984 to 1992. He also played on the team in the 1997 season. He was drafted in the 2nd round with the 38th overall pick in 1984. You guys probably know a little bit more about Boomer. He played more recently, and he's on TV a lot if you watch the coverage for the NFL. 4-time Pro Bowler, 1988 NFL MVP, 37,920 career passing yards, 24th most in NFL history. He had 27,149 of those with the Bengals, which is good for 3rd in team history. 247 career touchdowns. That's 25th in the NFL. 187 of those were with the Bengals, which is 3rd in their team history. 7.6 yards per attempt with the Bengals is a first in Bengals history among leaders with at least 500 attempts. He passed for 3,000 plus yards in a season 7 separate times. At age 36 in 1997, Boomer took over for the team that started 1-7 and set a career high in passer rating at 106.9. At age 36, he had a career passer rating of 107 essentially, and went 4-1 as a starter, winning 4 of the last 5 games in that season. He has the best playoff record in team history with a 3-2 mark, and the only Bengals QB with a winning. He's good. That's good for He's the only quarterback in Bengals history with a winning record in the playoffs, right? So let's take a look at maybe some other guys that might make it. We're looking at from this class. You got to think that Ken Riley, is going to be a guy that's probably going in. Again, this is another guy that should be in the NFL Hall of Fame, let alone the Bengals Ring of Honor. Ken Riley, 5'11", 181 pounds, cornerback. He played for the Bengals from 1969 to 1983. Very long, storied career with one team. You just don't see it very often. You love to see it. Drafted in the 6th round, 135th pick in 1969, right? So if you take a look at his career stats and accomplishments, he was a 1983 All-Pro. He was a 2-time second-team All-Pro, and once in 1975 and once in 1976. 3 or more interceptions in 12 out of his 15 seasons. That's getting it done. You love to see it. 65 interceptions, which is tied with Charles Woodson for 5th most in NFL history. By the way, if you take a look at the list of the top 10 list of most interceptions in their careers, all of them except Ken Riley are in the Hall of Fame. He had 5 interceptions returned for touchdowns. He had 596 interception return yards. That's more return yards on interceptions in his career than a lot of third-string wide receivers get for their career in an entire season. 207 career games played. He has one of 2 players in franchise history with 3 interceptions in a single game. 9 interceptions in 1976, the second highest season total in franchise history. 18 defensive fumble recoveries is second in franchise history to just Reggie Williams, another guy on the Ring of Honor list. So let's talk about, let's see, why not? Because more than likely you guys recognize this name more than any of the others on this list because he's played kind of more recently than anyone. That's Chad the Ocho Cinco Johnson. You guys know his story. Old CJ, you know his story. 6'1", 192 pounds. Obviously wide receiver. Played with the Bengals from 2001 to 2010. He is also a 2nd round pick, 36th overall. You guys are seeing a pattern here, right? These 2nd round picks are killing it. That's why you should think Jackson Carman going to be a big deal. Drew Sample needs to pick it up because 2nd round picks in Bengals history have performed like gangbusters throughout some of their best players of all time have been 2nd round picks. So expect a lot out of these guys whenever they come to the Bengals as a 2nd round pick. So Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, as he likes to be called, 6-time Pro Bowler, tied for 2nd most Pro Bowl appearances in franchise history, 2-time first team All-Pro, 766 career receptions with the Bengals. That's 766 total receptions for his career. That's 34th in NFL history. 11,059 receiving yards, 36th in NFL history. 67 receiving touchdowns. That's tied for 51st in NFL history. 66.6 yards per game, tied for 42nd in NFL history. 260 receiving yards in a single game, tied for 19th most in a single game for NFL history. 3 consecutive 100-yard receiving games. That's tied for 2nd most in franchise history. He did it twice, actually, once in 2002 and then again in 2006. The team records that he holds: 751 receptions, 10,783 yards, 66 touchdowns, most receiving yards in a single season, which was 1,440. Holds 4 of the franchise top 5 records for receiving yard seasons: 1,440, the one we just said, 1,432, 1,469, 1,355. Single game record for receiving yards, we already mentioned 260. So that's Chad. The thing is though, regardless of who they put in right here, right? Regardless, let's take a look at the other 85. This is the 85. If you were to ask my dad about the receiver wearing number 85 for the Bengals, he would not probably talk about Chad Ochocinco Johnson, he would talk about 85. He would talk about Isaac Curtis, number 85. This dude was the truth. If you've never seen any tape of him, go just type in Isaac Curtis highlights into YouTube. It's crazy. This guy, the stuff this guy could do. Really long strides. Could get up to speed really quickly. He was a first-round draft pick, 15th overall in 1973. 6'1", 192 pounds. Played with the Bengals. During his time with the Bengals, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. He had 17.1 yards per catch, which is first and number 1 in franchise history. 7,101 receiving yards for the Bengals, which is 3rd in franchise history. 53 touchdowns, which is 4th in franchise history. 6th longest reception in franchise history with an 85-yard touchdown from Ken Anderson. That was against the Jets to December 12th, 1976. He was just kind of a game breaker type wide receiver, the type that they think Jamar Chase is going to be, right? So this is the class. You've also got guys that played on the championship team, or I'm sorry, the AFC championship teams and the teams that played in the Super Bowl. You've got probably the best right tackle in franchise history in Willie Anderson. You've got maybe the best running back in franchise history in Corey Dillon. He is the best running back in franchise history in Corey Dillon, but he played for bad teams during a pretty sour patch of Bengals history. But I think at the end of the day, eventually all these guys will go in. It's just, this is the 2021, nominees right here. And I think the biggest thing is that the Bengals are actually doing this. We've been asking for something like this, for them to honor their great players of the past, because we all know the national media and the NFL in general just won't do it. And if we're not going to do it, why would we expect them to follow along and do it and change their ways and actually start paying respect to our great players? I love it. You love to see it. You're going to start seeing these guys. You're going to start seeing the jungle honoring the great Tigers of the past, right? The great alpha hunters of the past that came through Cincinnati and changed the perception of this team. I'm looking forward to it, man. I think this season coming up is going to be really awesome. I'm also looking forward to spending it with you guys and breaking down all the games and all the players. We've got plenty of more content coming. I'm not going to stop just because the draft's over. I'm not just a draft guy. I'm a Bengals guy. But that's going to do it for me today. I've been Mike. This has been Who Daily. See ya.